First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
Well, let's start with things that are going on north in our county. There was a big fire.
There is over in Dragoon I-10 area, which shut I-10 down actually Tuesday, and boy, I tell you, I mean, talk about just back up, because once they shut the I-10 down, they put them out into the county areas, and our phones, in fact, we kept our staff extra hours just because of the fact the phone calls were coming in, and people were frustrated because they didn't know exactly where to go. They were taking off their course, and these are people not from Cochise County, so they're stuck in secondary roads here in Cochise County. So it was quite a day, but I got to say this, I mean, Carol, to you and our deputies, our Sheriff's Assist team, our DPS officers, troopers out there, our firefighters, I mean, everybody, they do the best they can. I mean, these are unexpected moments that all of a sudden we're coming together, setting up unified commands, trying to get information out there, and we do our darndest on that. Judy over at Emergency Services, we all came together trying to get it out there, and we got through it. Was there some frustration at the end? Yeah, but I think overall it was a safe event.
ADOT was there.
Oh, ADOT too.
Yes.
I apologize. ADOT was there too, and I mean, there's a lot of resources that come together to keep our community safe, to get people, let people be aware of what's going on, and then get down the road on this. And it's a lot of work.
And there's so many segues that we're going to kind of jump in to this, but just so everybody knows, so the Walnut Fire at that time, even as of yesterday, was the sixth largest in the state of Arizona. So we have 14 burning right now. So that's the sixth largest, and it was over 8,000 acres, and it's still going, obviously. But, you know, who would have thought when it began up there near Texas Canyon that it would ever, you know, have the potential to jump a 4-lane interstate and a median? So you talk about that and having flashbacks to the Monument Fire. You know, who would have thought?
Well, we're all pretty sensitive. Even though the Monument Fires, it's been 10, 11 years, we're very sensitive to what fires can do. And we saw that with the Monument Fire, where everybody thought, oh, it was up on top of the hill, and that Commander John Black from the Sheriff's Assist team was here last week and talked about that. I thought he did a very good job of narrating that. But everybody that night thought, we're good. And by the next day, we knew it wasn't. I mean, then we look back at that, post-monument, 70 structures were burnt down. I mean, people were displaced. It went like 6 miles. It was incredible into the residential neighborhoods. And today, it still lives. It's very vivid in our minds today. And so the Dragoon, the Walnut Fire up there, I mean, it was similar. And trying to get that information out. And that's our biggest thing, is letting people, you know, the Ready, Set, Go program is something that Arizona sheriffs, we put out there. Every sheriff in the county implemented that. And we do. We ask people to be ready, set, go. In fact, I had ranchers calling me saying, these are some of our ranch advisory folks that have been vetted through the sheriff's office. Sheriff, let us know. We'll get the livestock trailers up there. I mean, everybody came together. We all learned from the Monument Fire here.
That's right. And some of the things that we have to address, and we do after-action reviews of any type of situation. So we're not at that point yet, but we probably will be next week. Some of the things that we have to look at is, you know, the interstate, and it's multi-agency for sure. So the interstate, you have cars. It was basically a parking lot. So people were stuck between the points of closure, and how do they get off of the interstate? Well, they really didn't move for hours and hours and hours. So that was a huge frustration. Trying to get information out there, saying that there was an evacuation zone, and people outside of that zone saying, you know, I need to evacuate because they mentioned my road name, Dragoon Road. But that wasn't, you know, that was one of the boundaries, and you have to pay attention. Alert Sense, we're going to talk about that, something that you have to sign up for.
You got to sign up.
And there's a way that we can have a mechanism in place that's a reverse 911. So if you're not signed up with Alert Sense, and it's a huge issue, if we would have had to evacuate miles and miles of area, then we definitely would have tapped into the iPause or the reverse 911, and you wouldn't have had to be signed up. It would be anybody in that area. So we were talking about approximately 20 residents. And people were confused. People are stuck on the interstate now. People are living in an area that they're confused. People don't know if they should go, if they will go. At least 4 residents said, no, I'm not leaving. We had medical issues where people, nurses and hospitals were calling saying we have clients in their homes and they're on oxygen, so we have to have a medical move. So all of those things that people don't see that are going on in the background are happening. And that's why our after-action reports are so important, so that we can figure out, detouring the traffic, just like you said. You're used to driving on interstate at 75 miles an hour, not over, and then you end up in a drug through a residential area, which some of the places go down to 25 miles an hour. So now we have, the Indy 500 going through our communities. So all of those things we just have to address.
Well, I remember it was Tuesday night. The interstate was shut down Tuesday around, I think, around 11 o'clock that morning, correct? Tuesday night, it was like 9 o'clock at night, and the interstate was still a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was up there, it was still a parking lot, and I get the frustration. I truly do, and I know the people getting these back roads, these secondary roads off I-10, and they don't know where they're going. They get lost, and we do our darndest to get people through those detours like that, but everybody wants to take that shortcut, and then people follow them, and the next thing you got a third road out there that's all jammed up. So again, it's a challenge, but I got to say, I'm going to look at the good of this. I'm not going. We'll take the lessons like we do in every incident, but overall, nobody got hurt. Most important. Second of all, I think we did a pretty good job, and this is just something we can learn from as like any event. We're not perfect. I hate the word perfect because it just confuses people, but we will get better.
And just make sure that you understand, your points of information. Make sure that if you're able, people have smartphones that are able to log on to a variety of different things. We try to put it out on the Sheriff's Facebook page. Make sure that if you live in any area in Cochise County, sign up for Alert Sense. It's pretty quick. You can get notified on landline, on email, on cell phone, a multitude of different ways, and it gives you a lot of different options that you can be notified on. And one of these things we use as an example, or maybe I should say I do, who would have thought that you would be able to be notified on a boiling water advisory? But if something happens and you need to boil your water, you would never, ever think that. But that's one of the options that you could sign up for. And given the condition of our water situation today, you might want to think about that.
That's a good point, Carol. It's something you don't think about. I would agree 100%. And I'll just say, we're in a drought. And we say this on this show. I know it's been put out there over and over, your local news. And that is, be prepared, though. I mean, with a drought comes high fire risk and vulnerability. So we want to be ready. You should be ready, especially if you're living in rural Cochise County, where the vulnerability, or somebody throws a cigarette out the window on I-10, and I know they said this was started by lightning, but again, that's where a lot of our fires start. People throw cigarettes out, and the next thing you know, you got this big brush fire, which moves into whole communities. But be ready, be prepared, have a defense in mind.
And thank you, everybody. Seriously, the contributors, both on the phone and on our social media sites. Thank you to everybody who offered something. Even if it was just a kind word. Thank you all.
Yeah, I got some calls on that too. And again, this is what's great about living in Cochise County. And let me open that up. I think that's what's great about living in rural America. We still know our neighbors. We still interact. We know our sheriffs. We know our police chiefs. We just know our community. And so when there is a horrific event in a community, we're coming together. We truly come together, and I think we do a very good job of that. I'm proud to live in rural America right now.
And earlier we referenced the Monument Fire, and on the front page of the newspaper today is some of our folks from the SAT team.
Yeah, Commander John Black and Deputy Commander Steve Ziegler. And I know they were on the show last week, and they talked about that. They did. The SAT was so vital during the Monument Fire. They did things that, this was new to us. And people say, oh, okay, you've had fires before. But the Monument was something we've never experienced in Cochise County. But what that unit did, these volunteers did, we didn't have one theft. All the houses that were burnt, all the properties that people were evacuated from, they protected those for as long as till they were released back to the homeowners were released back to the properties. And I tell you, they just did an amazing job, and that was a lot of confusion too. We hadn't been down that road before, and we had command posts, field command posts, we had people running around, people were just up in arms, and it was quite a challenge. But SAT was steadfast in getting done what they needed to do for that couple weeks.
Communications issues. As a result of that, again, talking about learning. We learned a lot of lessons, and that's one of the huge takeaways we had. So now we have the ability to communicate with agencies within Cochise County, at the flip of a button.
And yeah, $17 million later, and we realized that we didn't have the interoperability, let alone our own radio system at the Sheriff's Office, but the interoperability to work with the police departments and our other partners was not there either. I remember during the Monument Fire, they had 2 mobile command vehicles side by side with the windows open so they could talk. I mean, you can't make that up. And so we knew we had to do a better job. The police chiefs knew it. DPS knew it. The sheriff knew it. Sheriff Deaver. Everybody came back together and did that. And today we sit with a system. And I got to give the shout out, since we're talking about this. Thanks to Mr. Howard Buffett. He came in and donated $17 million to implement our infrastructure in Cochise County, which built into the regional center, which, by the way, he purchased that too. So thank you, Mr. Howard Buffett, for doing that. And I know he's not listening to the show, but then again, maybe I'm wrong about where he's at today. So thank him for doing that, because we're so much better off today than we ever have been.
And it's been a busy week. Tell us about the Sheriff's Conference.
Well, I was at the Sheriff's Conference. The National Sheriff Association had their annual conference in downtown Phoenix this week. Now, I just like to know who coordinated that, but 118 degrees. In the studio with me, I got to say this now, is Sheriff, I was going to say Woody, Leon Wilmot from Yuma County. He's down here. He came down for an event going on today here in Cochise County, but he was up in Phoenix with us too. And he's going to be on the radio here in a few minutes. And Sheriff Wilmot's a very good friend of mine. We work a lot of projects together, both on the state level and the national level. And so we were up there. We had a border panel. Chief Ortiz from Border Patrol, a couple of the sector chiefs, Sheriff Wilmot, and sheriff out of Texas, border sheriff. We all came together for General Assembly and did a presentation to what's going on our southern border, and worked out really well. And those meetings are good, because though there's a lot of social, which I think is very important, as sheriffs from Iowa and Oregon and all the different parts come together to interact and share experiences and share programs. So it was a good couple of days up there. But boy, let me tell you, 118 degrees when I pulled in there on Sunday, and I'm like, who picked Phoenix, Arizona? Could we have gone somewhere different, maybe Alaska? But either way, we went to Phoenix, but it was good.
And you were talking to the Yuma County Sheriff, and Yuma was so hot he decided to hitch a ride with you back, right?
He did, yeah. But he came in last night at the end of the conference, and he actually says one of the executive board members was a director for them, and he can talk more about that. But so he had to stay a couple extra days. I came back Tuesday, and mainly I came back because of the fire too. We had that big fire. I want to get back here, and I mean, that's, again, Monument draws us. We got people that are being displaced. I'm going to be here for them.
And some of the things that you're doing now, today, and basically this week has been crazy busy, stupid. But border tours yesterday and an event today.
Yeah, there's an event. There's a group out of Washington, D.C. that's actually working with one of the private landowners to have a Secure Our Border event, and that's what it is today. So if you see a lot of people, there's 800 people so far that's registered, that has a ticket for this event. At around noon today, they'll start showing up, and what I've been told is the hotel rooms are all sold out in Sierra Vista, so there's an economic boost, folks. But long story short, they got people, and they got folks from all over the country coming here. And it's to unify that we need a secure border. And they picked Cochise County, and they called me 6 months ago about this event and say, hey, we want to come to your county, and which, yeah, come on down. But so that kicks off at noon, about 3 o'clock. You'll see a lot of people at the Windermere. Again, there's 800 that bought tickets for this event. And then about 4:45, they're heading to the border in a caravan. And then at 5:30, there's a big presentation at the border where people are going to talk, and they got political folks coming in. I know there's a handful of sheriffs from all over the country. They're going to be here. Sheriff Wilmot, that's one of the reasons he's here too. So if you see a lot of traffic today around, especially late afternoon, that's what's going on. And again, the message is to secure the border.
And last night was an NAACP forum that you attended.
Yes, NAACP. I'll tell you, that was they do this, and Tony Isom and Clea McCall and the membership of NAACP here in Cochise County, the Greater Huachuca, I think that's their title. They do this like twice a year, once or twice a year, and I tell you, it's just such a well-attended event. Number one, but number two is it's not what you think. It's not this bickering back and forth. No, that's not true. It's actually very harmonious, and it's really educational driven, where we talk about current issues, how we're facing them, how we're challenging them up, and what we believe is the best practice, and we share that back with the people. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't, but it's very, very interactive in a good way. And I my hats are off to NAACP. I'm just proud to say we have a relationship with them. And other groups here in the community, because we work so hard. Law enforcement, this is a pretty special area to live, and I say that. I said that last night, too. We're blessed and humbled. I'm blessed to live here. I'm humbled to serve here. But I've been to Maricopa County, to give you an example, where that was not the case. Let me tell you, there was so much tension in the room, and I made a comment. In fact, the governor was at this meeting with me, and the police chiefs from the Valley, and then many groups that were just, it was very tenacious. And I made the comment at the end, because the governor goes, Sheriff, you want to say something? Like, I wasn't saying anything. It didn't affect us. I mean, we're doing great things down here. I said, you ought to go out to rural Arizona and see what's working, because we're doing very good things out there, because we have something we call respect that's built into our community, and we respect each other, and we have to go do the same job. We have to arrest people. We have to hold people accountable and enforce the rule of law. But we do it in a way that these are our neighbors too. Yeah, they made a mistake, but we're going to hold them accountable when they make but we're going to be fair about it. And so I don't know what breaks down in the urban areas, and I'm not here to speak on that, but I will say this: I'm glad I live here.
And some of the things that we do to make that happen is community outreach.
Yes.
And community-oriented policing, if you will, as we go through, and ways we do that are integrating in our community, like the forum last night. And then today, Cochise County School Superintendent is having a grand opening for their new Crossroads Education Center. And we're tied into that in as much as, we want what's best for our youth in Cochise County. And kudos to Jackie Clay and her whole staff for actually making this a reality. So people really need to check that out too.
Yeah, it's a new Crossroads Academy, and I know Jackie and her team's been working on this, and we're helping out through some jail enhancement funds. So to put it in perspective, excuse me, if somebody comes into our jail and they need to get their GED or get their high school diploma, they automatically are introduced to this program. And then what happens is they get released, and it's like, oh, what happens? Where's the continuum of education from there? So Jackie has taken that, and if you don't know Jackie Clay, I'm telling you, we're blessed to have her as a school superintendent. She's got more energy than three of me. It's incredible. But she's put this together. It's a new school that the grand opening is today. I will be there speaking at that. But again, my hat's off to Jackie and her team, because she's opened up, I call it the gift of life. Anytime you can get a quality education, that's going to take you into open the door for many successes. So again, thank you, Jackie, your team, for seeing that vision, but actually putting it together into a real life form. So that's today.
And then also right there at that location was a former jail that we've torn down.
Yeah, let me just say this: the new school is going to be the old Foothills Sheriff's Office on Foothills and 92. They have now renovated that to make that the new Crossroads Academy, their school. So, but they tore down the old jail. If you haven't got a chance, for those that were guests within the jail, and I know I started my career, started work there. Boy, I tell you, booked people in there. It's sad. I went by there the other day just to see what it looked like, and wow, you got to go by there. It's quite unique, and I think there needs to be a story on that. That was monumental in Sierra Vista, that jail. Everybody knew where the Cochise County Jail was in Sierra Vista, and now to see just the pad left there, but the paint. I don't know if you know, if you look at that, they took the jail down. It must have been an add-on back in the 60s and 70s, because the wall and stuff are still there with the old paint.
Yeah, we're definitely going to make a story on that, because during that time, that was an education of a different kind. So now we have a new one coming.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a personal thing when you worked within that facility, and that was part of your operation for 20-some years, and now, we just closed that 10 years ago. It hasn't been that long ago. We've closed that jail. And so a lot of memories there. But if you got a chance, take a look at the Foothills. Drive by there. And if, like I said, if you had any experience with our jail, it'll bring back some memories, I'm sure.
And speaking of the jail, again, shout out to Commander Bradshaw and his lieutenants and everybody who works there. Tough job, and it takes a special kind of person to do that. And part of working at the jail is making sure that you stay on top of everything that's going on as much as possible. And so next week is the jail conference, and Grady, you get to go to that.
I do. I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to go.
All right.
I'm going to learn a lot of stuff.
I heard you have assignments already, so they're going to be working.
Yeah, and JailCon kicks off early next week, Monday, and then their opening ceremony is Tuesday. And JailCon is designed for the jail commanders throughout the state, from the sheriff's offices, which are unsung heroes. These are all unsung heroes. I mean, they're part of the public safety thread. I mean, if we didn't have jails, that's such a strong component of what we do in the criminal justice system. But they're kicking their annual conference off. It's up in Scottsdale. That's a talking stick. I will be up there Monday night, and then I'm speaking on Tuesday morning on behalf of the Arizona sheriffs, because our jail commanders are vital to any sheriff. You get a lot of sheriffs that have never operated a jail, but you look at the biggest challenge to any sheriff, it's a jail. They'll tell you that. And running a jail is a challenge in itself, and that's attached to all the public safety things we do as sheriffs. But having a good jail commander and having good detention officers is vital to our success and to community success. And my hats are off to all of them. And so I'll be sharing these comments on Tuesday morning. Also, Department of Corrections folks go to the JailCon, and then we have correctional officers and detention officers from all over the country go to this. So it's not just exclusive to Arizona. So it's a huge event, but on behalf of the Arizona Sheriffs, I'll be welcoming them on Tuesday morning.
And they're also having employment seminars and trying to get people, recruitment and whatnot. So take a look at what we have. Again, Grady's working hard on that with our staff and trying to make sure if you're looking for a place to land and start a career, this is a great place to do it.
And speaking of which, the Academy is going to be kicking off again in July.
It is. Our police academy here in partnership with Cochise College and Service Police Department, that kicks off, I want to say, the end of July. And I think we have 32 applicants, recruits coming through. And that's from all the different agencies. I think we're looking to send 4, maybe 5. So, again, another academy. And I tell you, President Wattweiler and Eric Brooks and all the team over at Cochise College for allowing us to have the homegrown academy. And I think there's something special about having your own academy in your own county. So that kicks off end of July. It's going to be the biggest class we've had, which shows it's growing. The success of the academy is growing, and it's getting the recognition out there. And I know the Yuma County Sheriff, he has their academy down there in partnership with their community college, and and up in Yavapai they have one. So it's a good partnership at local community colleges.
And one of the things that we try to do, again, is get public input. So all of these things going on, just wanted to revisit that Cochise County now has a new webpage for all of the departments, regardless. And as part of ours, we made sure we put a customer service tab on there. So take a look at it at cochise.az.gov/sheriff. Take a look at how it's changed. It's user-friendly. It's less busy, so you can get through it pretty easily for navigating. But take a look at that customer service tab. I don't know that we hit on that enough, but we are looking for feedback. Just tell us what you think, and we'll hopefully be able to take that, dissect it, see how we can do better, or see different things that we should be doing, could be doing, would be doing, without just making sure that we just blindly go into it. We'll have your input.
Well, I think secondary to that too is it's also part of our outreach. That's how we touch so many people with information on the sheriff's office. Or if you want to contact us, we need that. Just like our Facebook page, that's how we're outreaching. It's part of our transparency, if you want to call it, that we put into the community. So yeah, take a look at that. Let us know. If we don't know, we can't fix it. So we want you to give us feedback. I want to go back, Grady, to the jail, and I want to give a shout out to a couple of board members for approving our budget. But we actually upgraded our salaries in the jail too. Went up to I think $38,000 to start off, and so it was like a $6,000 bump, and then relevant up from there to the steps. There's a step program within the jail for people who can progress through the years, but which I'm very impressed with. I really am. So it's a competitive salary. It's in line with the state. I think it's a little bit over what Department of Corrections, and I know they just got a raise too, so I don't know where that's all going to work out. But so I'm very, very excited about that. And same for our deputies. We just bumped them up $7,000, I think it was too. So again, thank you to the board members that approved our budget and saw the need and the competitive need. I mean, it's very competitive out there. I mean, when you're looking for those quality men and women that want to work in law enforcement, let's face it, there's not a line to apply. So everybody's looking for that one individual that's got the character, the merit to walk into a door of a law enforcement agency. So again, having competitive salaries makes that happen. So thank you.
Well, it's time to start talking about rabies as well, and I know we're going to start putting out public service announcements about that.
We are. And so, people need to understand, get your pets vaccinated. It's so critical. Benson had the last one with the fox that was living with the feral cats that were going to be fed by the homeowner who, ended up getting scratched. I mean, all of these things come full circle. So you don't want to go there. I mean, you just don't, especially if you're afraid of needles. You just don't want to go there.
Mm-mm.
Well, and once you have a rabid animal, a feral animal, that's near your domesticated animals, or even feral cats in this case, it becomes a complex issue. And unfortunately, it's sad. It really is, because and we've had a few of those, especially in the rural parts where our USDA officer and then our animal control officers have to come in there and ratify that situation. It's usually not a good thing. So, yeah. Get your animals rabies shots, please.
And let's just jump from the sadness of that. Continuing on the line of Benson. So Quinn is 11 years old, and she lives in Benson. And the 4-H club joined together with the Schleicht Toys. I don't know if anybody heard this, but this is kind of important because
this
one
is
of our
cool.
homegrown
It's a
kids,
good story.
It is. So Schleicht Toys is a German toy manufacturer, and they've been in Europe for over 100 years, making different kinds of little toys. So what they have now, because they're so big, globally, is now they're bringing contests, trying to get kids engaged in that again. So they have characters. They have little toys. So they have a bull. I believe his name is Bull.
Yeah.
You
I
have
like it.
Cha-Cha the tiger. You have Larry the T-Rex, and you have Lily the unicorn. Okay, all of those things are part of this
Those
contest.
are good names.
They are good names.
Yeah, they just got a good rhythm.
It's kind of like Toy Story,
Yeah,
So-
yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute, won't we? Sure.
Yeah.
Sheriff Wilmot back there. We're going to talk.
So Schleicht Toys came up with this with 4-H, and so Quinn submitted her storyline, and out of hundreds and hundreds of submissions, she's like one of the top 2. So now Quinn and somebody else who's not from Cochise County are in this competition. So if you have time, check out Schleicht Toys' Facebook page, and it's SCHLEICH, okay? German toy company, Schleicht Toys. Go to their Facebook page, and you can vote. Vote Quinn. She is a Cochise County resident, and her story is so cute. So you need to make sure that you do that so she can win. We need her to bring home the prize.
There's 131,000 people. That's 131,000 votes for Quinn. We got to step up and support Quinn. I think it's pretty cool. I really do. You got this young girl that's aspiring there, come up to the story, and now she's one of 2 out of hundreds, probably thousands, that have pushed forward on these ideas. So I commend her. I think that's pretty cool.
That's right, especially if she can weave a story with a bull, a tiger, a T-Rex, and a unicorn. Watch out.
Well, she's already a winner. I see bright things coming for her. So we need to go out and visit her and just say thank you to her. I think that'd be cool. Good. We need to plan that.
Next week on the show, we're going to be all about the 4th of July, but let's go ahead and start talking about some of the parades so people can make some plans.
They're all over. I mean, Coburn's over, folks. But seriously, the parades are back. I mean, they changed the schedule, though. Bisbee Parade is actually on July 4th at 3 o'clock, I believe.
3:30, yeah. In the afternoon, in the middle of all your stuff.
And there's been a lot of people, especially because we get parades with Douglas, Benson, Sunsites, Rodeo, which is the Portal area. I mean, Service has got their events. I mean, Palominas has got. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the unorganized parade, and so there's so many parades out there, and we do our darndest to get. Douglas has one, so we do our darndest to get to all these parades through all our team effort. But yeah, 3 o'clock, 3:30 on July 4th. So I don't know what's going to happen there. We're working the schedule out, but I know Benson's on July 3rd this year at like 9 o'clock. And I mean, please verify the times, folks. But I don't have the schedule in front of me. And then there's another one on July 4th in the morning. That's Douglas, I think, correct?
Yeah, and we're going to be putting this out on our social media. So, just so everybody is aware, regardless of where you're at. And it's almost like being brand new, because we had such a long year and a half of, of, just being sheltered in place. So just getting out there, getting to enjoy stuff. So we're going to put that out there, and know we're going to have people out there. And I got a call yesterday about the Benson one, wanting to know if you're going to be on a horse. I told her too soon. We're going to wait a little bit, so it'll be cars for right now, just to make sure.
Well, the problem, I love riding a horse, and Benson I usually do. And the problem is you're getting from one parade to another.
Right.
So, jump off a horse and get into the next parade and putting the horse. It's a lot of work for our ranch deputies, and they're the ones that manage our horse patrol. So I don't know yet if I'll be on a horse or not. I don't know. Usually the Bisbee one I ride a horse too. So I got to figure all this out. But we're going to be out there. Please look for us, and hopefully you're out and celebrating our independence.
And next week, we are going to have the people that are going to talk about all things 4th of July, whether it's, the DUI task force, whether it's the fireworks part of it, whether it's the events that are going on. And thinking of that, there's going to be a lot of traffic and stuff. There's going to be a lot of traffic today, but there's going to be a lot of traffic. And we've had some traffic issues, we collectively as communities within Cochise County. And one of the big ones is the head-on collision on the Highway 90 between Benson and Whetstone, right around Karchner Caverns.
Very sad. Very sad scenario. And that, we probably all read the news on that, where a 9-year-old, and in fact his picture's in the Surface Herald today. It's on their online page too. It's what is sad. What an senseless and avoidable act. I can't say enough. Obviously, impairment's a factor here, and the individual. Let me say that the suspect was driving in the wrong lane, head on. Came on to a family that was just driving on the road, minding their own business. So you've heard us on this show say, "Don't drink and drive." These are the tragedies that are irreversible. You can't bring this back now. You can't put this in reverse and say, "Okay, let me fix this." You'll never be able to fix that. And as a result, an innocent 9-year-old has lost his life. So upsetting, frustrating. I had a lot of community members talk to me about that over the week here, and truly I respect. I mean, I over my 37 years, I've seen more tragedy as a result of alcohol. So, yeah, folks, don't drink and drive with Uber friends. Heck, God gave you some legs, walk it. I mean, if you put that liquid in your body, walk it home. So again, it's very tragic. My heart goes out to the family. Truly goes out to the family, and that individual the suspect sits in my jail, and his life will never be the same.
Yeah, because he impacted so many others, and they won't
Correct.
ever be the same.
Yes.
So choices, everybody makes them.
Yeah, the fracture of families right there over one incident, one decision to drink and drive, and having those kids in his car. And by the way, the law states if you're impaired and you have a child in the car, that is a felony. That's an aggravated felony, which it should be, truly should be.
And so your stop of the week, we're going to go into this with traffic. You're coming back from Phoenix. Tell us about your traffic stop.
Well, it's coming back from Phoenix, and everybody can respect this, I hope. But long story short is you can't impede traffic. You can't impede traffic, whether it's any roadway or highway. So I ended up making a traffic stop. I'll jump right to it. I made a traffic stop on an individual for impeding. And instead of heeding to the warning, he wanted to non-comply. He wanted to challenge up the traffic stop. I called for another agency. They came over, thanks to DPS, for assisting me on that. And because the state of Arizona, if you're stopped for a traffic violation, you have to comply. You have to comply with providing a driver's license. Now, if you don't have one, you don't have one, but you need to state that. Or and this person wouldn't do it. Nope, I don't want to do it. Well, obviously, the consequence of that is going to jail. So he saw where this was going, and then he said, well, okay, here's my driver's license. Well, he was suspended. He was criminally suspended. But the whole thing is, if you just don't break the law, first of all, you need a license to drive. I'm not promoting or condoning his behavior or his not having a license. But in this case, it's like, so he got cited. But the bottom line is, obey the laws. Be respectful on the highway. And respect is not a law, but put it into how you drive. Get in the slow lane. Let people. The fast lane is it's a passing lane by statute in the fast lane. Pull to the right, get on your speed, and then let people pass you. But you can't just block it there and impede it and do what you want to do. And so again, he was cited for the violations, and again, he didn't have a driver's license. And so it's that's my stop of the week. And it's like, and the guy at the end told me, he goes, "I'm sorry." And he made a comment to me. I just got to share it with everybody. He made a comment to me. I want to talk to your supervisor. I said, well, my supervisor are the people. You can talk to the people. I mean, really, I work as an office of the people. That's who I work for. And but when he got all done and he understood that, oh, I didn't know. If he just complied, it had been a different story. But he chose to debate it, and of course, he was cited accordingly for it. So, again, comply, obey the law, and you'll have no problem.
And what is your safety message of the week?
I got to go back to the head-on collision. I know it's repetitive, but it's real. Don't drink and drive. Impairment is real life. We saw that play out last weekend, and a family now is suffering as a result of that. So, again, don't drink and drive, folks. I mean, again, we want to have a good time. We want you to have a good time, especially as July 4th quickly approaches us. But please, walk it off. Call for an Uber. Call a friend. Call family members. But don't get behind that wheel when you're drinking and driving. So,
we'll be back with more on First Watch, brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. And I understand you have a great introduction that you're about to give.
I do, Grady. And our next guest, I got to give you a little story, is Sheriff Leon Wilmot from Yuma County. And we've grown our careers. I mean, we very similar in time. We got this, we got the same amount of time. But we became very close as sheriffs. We work at the National Sheriff Association. We work with Western Sheriff, Southwest Border, and Leon was a former president of Arizona Sheriffs. I followed behind him on that as a president of Arizona Sheriffs. But I got to tell you a story. This is a story that his department's even embraced, his office. And that's this. We were in New Orleans for a national sheriff meeting, and we got done having a breakfast with the Secretary of Homeland Security, and this was several years ago. And so we walk out of the big conference center, and there's the media there. And I knew the media host, and he said, Sheriff Daniels, hey, will you jump on and do a live interview with us? I said, sure, because of the conference and everything. And Sheriff Wilmot had walked away. And so he goes, hey, would the other sheriff jump on? I go, yeah, that's Sheriff Wilmot out of Yuma. He goes, okay, great. So he had gone in the bathroom, Sheriff Wilmot. He goes, what's his name? I go, that's Sheriff Woody Wilmot. We all know Woody from Toy Story. And if you see or look up Sheriff Wilmot on his page, you'll see why I'm saying that. So he comes back out, and the host is like, okay, guys, you ready to go? I said, yes. He had no idea I had set him up like this. So we went live, and I went first and talked for a few minutes, and he goes, and with Sheriff Daniels is Sheriff Woody Wilmot. And his face, he just froze. He goes, no, it's Leon. And under the story was the proctor, Sheriff Woody Wilmot. So I got back to his office in Yuma, and of course his guys, being typical cops, embraced the Toy Story theme in his office, and since that time, that's why we call him Woody. So if you see a Sheriff Wilmot who's going to be visiting here today, and feel free to walk up and go. And we got an interview again at 10:45 this morning on another event, but that's why we call him Woody. It's part of our Toy Story story.
And the uncanny part of that is Sheriff Daniels looks a lot like Buzz Lightyear, so now he's known as Buzz.
That's become kind of a.
That's what you get when you got friends.
Yeah, we've animated the Pixar movie now. Here we got Woody and Buzz here on the show. But
that's right.
Leon, it's great to have you here. It's great to have you in Cochise County. I know you come down. You've been down here before doing stuff with us, and I've been in your county doing things with you. And but tell us a little bit about what's going on in Yuma. I know the border issue is different than what goes on here. We've talked about this on this show. People live it here in our county, but you got a little different scenario going on over there.
It's different, and that's one of the things where the borders in your backyard came into fruition, was the fact that even in our state, the difference in geography and the difference of what's needed to help our communities are sometimes 180 off, but yet other things are parallel, much like our careers were,
right?
And so being able to communicate back and forth and say, okay, what are the issues that you're dealing with, and sharing ours, it helps us as far as performing our job, which is improving the quality of life of the people we serve, and trying to develop solutions that we can get our federal partners to actually listen to. But for Yuma County, I mean, 5,500 square miles, similar to Cochise in that respect, where there's 6,000 plus. We have a full-time population of roughly 200,000. And during the winter, we get another 100,000 on top of that between agriculture and winter visitors, because we're the winter visitor.
Oh, you're the point. You're the
mecca for Yuma, plus the winter vegetables. 90% of the United States winter vegetables come from Yuma, so it's a $4 billion industry there. But for our international boundary with Mexico, we share about 114 miles of international boundary, and obviously right now it's a hot topic again, unfortunately, for us, with the amount of family units coming across, and then the fact that the cartels are orchestrating this to tie up our federal partners' resources, and now we are dealing with the human and narcotic smuggling across our desert areas. So for us, it's a little bit different on our boundary compared to Cochise County, where you have a lot of private ranch land and private land. For Yuma, I have a lot of federal land, whether it belongs to Bureau of Reclamation because of the Colorado River, whether it's BLM. We have some small areas where it's city because we have 2 ports of entry, and I have 2 tribal nations as well in that international boundary. Plus, I've got the Barium Goldwater Range, where all of our military units from out of the country come and train. So we deal with that type of issue in our county. So.
And one thing sheriffs have been very loud on is public safety, national security, and humanitarian.
Correct.
And you're one of the sheriffs that's on a thread of sheriffs throughout the country that are talking about the border issues. Now, one of the things I saw you yesterday send out was you had some deaths in your county.
Yeah, we are up to 10 as of yesterday. We recovered another victim that the group had been abandoned by the human smuggler. And when you're talking about individuals being abandoned, you realize the heat index that we're currently experiencing now. So for Yuma, 115 is not abnormal, especially out in the remote desert areas. But the cartels are misleading folks. It's a commodity. They don't value life. It's all about bringing in the money. And for them, each and every one of these individuals that you hear about that Border Patrol has apprehended, at a minimum is paying the cartels $6,000 to be crossed along the international boundary. So they're bringing them along Highway 2 and telling them you only have a couple miles, when in reality we're recovering victims out in our desert that are 30 to 40 miles away from civilization. And there is nothing out in this desert. It's bombing range, so there is no water, there is hardly any shade. And they're being victimized again. And unfortunately, we just had another case last night where a 49-year-old had tried to cross without pain. They covered his head, they beat him severely and shot him in the face. And an 18-year-old found him along the border and drug him into the United States, and he's now in our hospital being treated. He's stable condition, but the cartels are the ones that are, and it's important that we get this message out there. The cartels are exploiting every bit and coordinating what's going on along our border right now. The level of violence across our border in Yuma has escalated because there's 3 different factions of the Sinaloa cartel which are vying, because it's such a lucrative deal. When you talk about our local Border Patrol, they're apprehending over 390 a day in family units that are just coming across and turning themselves in.
That's just in Yuma.
That's just in the Yuma sector in my county. And they've also, unfortunately, they're up to 50,000 apprehensions just in that 114 miles of boundary in my county.
Wow. It's every sheriff has a challenge on the southwest border.
We do.
And we
NGOs are taxed. And
right.
I'm sure you're feeling the same
exactly.
same situation where the NGOs that were usually able to help us prior to COVID, they're taxed with trying to help the local citizens right now.
I would agree, and it's so important, and I know you're doing it over there, working with our federal partners, working with our governor, our local law enforcement, our police chiefs, to have a collective effort trying to find solutions right now. But you've had a great community support in Yuma.
We do. There's a lot of similarities between Cochise and Yuma because you mentioned this last night, and I was happy to be able to sit in on your town hall with the NAACP, and I want to try to get that started in Yuma to share the information back and forth with our community and enhance that even more.
Well, and one thing, I mean, this is why you like coming to Cochise too, is, because you were former Army, correct?
No, I was actually in the Marine Corps. I had a diploma, so
that's the other thing, and we give him being former Marine, me being former Army, we kind of razz each other on that, but
that goes without saying.
It really does. In fact, I just got a text here while I'm sitting there doing the interview with you, and one of my deputies said, tell Sheriff Woody that go Army. And that's why I had to say that.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
See?
There's a lot of love between the...
There really is.
I have the Army and the Marine Corps base in my county, so we get that all the time.
You do. But Sheriff Wilma, I just got to say thanks for the friendship, number one. But number two, more important, is thanks for your service to your community, the state, and beyond, because... 3 decades of law enforcement. I mean,
it's amazing.
I'm proud to call you my friend, and I'm also proud to be sharing the sheriff's badge with you.
Same here. It goes both ways.
And glad you're here today. We're going to have some fun.
Well, thanks, Buzz.
And before you go, Sheriff, remind everybody where you guys are going to be today.
We're going to be, just for the event today, we're going to be over at the Windermere. You'll see people pulling in there about 12:30, 3 o'clock. They'll be doing presentations. Sheriff Wilmot will be speaking along with myself. And then at 4:45, they're going to caravan down to the border. This is a peaceful thing. We're not the host of this. Let me put that disclaimer. It's not a sheriff office function, but we've been asked to come out and say a few things. So as sheriff, so we're going to be doing that. 4:45, they leave the Windermere. So if you want to see them coming down the highway, they'll be heading down 92 toward the border. At 5:30, the event happens, and this is you have to have a ticket to get in. So this is all through the organization that's putting this on. So a lot of traffic and service to be safe out there. And if you have any questions, feel free to give our office a call.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only on 92.3 KWCD.
Careful.